Hi, welcome to Plat VALORANT, episode 69. It's the one after 68. And we are live on Twitch right now. At the same time as doing our YouTube premiere, we are currently live on our new Twitch channel too. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can go and look at us on Twitch if you want. You can pull us up on two monitors for whatever reason. I don't know why you would.
More
but
viewers.
That's twitch.tv/PlatChatPodcast and drop us a follow there too. And if you're watching this on Twitch, if you've just stumbled across the channel, or we do this every single week on YouTube. And if you, I mean, I don't even understand how you would have found the brand new Twitch channel.
At this point, when it just went live.
I mean,
But if you have, then come and check us out on YouTube as well and give us a subscribe there.
that might be one guy. I mean, we've converted one new subscriber maximum.
Everyone counts. All of you matter, okay? All of you matter.
Really,
And don't listen to Wyatt.
that is solidifying the parasocial relationship.
It is. It is. That's how we build our
degrees.
audience. That's how we
That's
build
how you
it. Now,
get more butt plugs in the mail.
now as
Listen,
for,
we were getting some use out of that yesterday.
yeah, but that's
No, I mean, for comedy.
For comedy.
For comedy.
you're right.
And when I
but
say we, I mean
let's save it. You know,
Anyone.
let's
you.
make it a secret. Make it a secret.
Oh.
Anyway, why am I plugging the Twitch right now? Why am I plugging the YouTube? Well, it might be because we're planning to go live in the very close future for an extended period of time, but still got nothing to announce about that. So
For no reason.
just no reason.
No reason we might
reason.
be live on
Yeah, we
the
might be
1st of
live
December.
for like 12 days, but no official announcement.
Coinciding
about it.
with something.
Yeah, we're
Doing a 12-day Sims 3 marathon where we recreate the Plat Chat house and see how long it takes to devolve.
Oh, it's the
German
Plat
already
Chat
did
Christmas special.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, the Plat Chat Christmas special. Also, you've been locked away, Balla. You're not in your normal place anymore. You're in a prison of your own making. It's not like a Vast who's shackled to a cubicle. You're in a nicer place, I assume.
Whoa, not my own making. I don't know if this is, these curtains. It's
Those are very European curtains.
They are, yeah.
Yeah.
Velvet
No,
curtains.
I am in jail right now, actually. I got woken up this morning by a knock on the door. We had to wake up for COVID testing in Berlin, and the guy knocks on the door. This is when they usually put the breakfast. They just knock a little lightly, and they're like, oh, whatever. They walk on, they drop the breakfast off. This dude this morning, he's like, wake up, breakfast. I'm like, what the hell? I legit felt like I was in jail for a second.
I like it. Okay, have you been? Did you get something lovely for Thanksgiving as well? I saw some of the players posting their Thanksgiving dinners. They look gorgeous.
My Thanksgiving dinner, okay. I ordered when I got there on Thanksgiving, because that's when we traveled.
Oh, right.
I ordered a burger and whatever for dinner that was on the list. And the guy calls me. He's like, "Hey, did you order a burger?" I'm like, "Yes, I ordered a burger. I also ordered for dinner some pasta." And he's like, "Oh, we have also for dinner Thanksgiving." I'm like, "Okay, what's for Thanksgiving?" He's like, "Chicken, some beets, and some cabbage." I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm feeling festive. Let's just go for it. Fuck it. He's like, "Okay, great. Wait 2 hours. I get a burger."
You never
Never
got the
got that
Thanksgiving dinner?
Thanksgiving meal. Nope. Didn't come the next day. Didn't come that day. Nope. Never got it.
Huh.
That's really unfortunate. So you just had your I mean, at least the burger was kind of a hint of home.
Yeah. I guess not really.
No.
Very dry.
Okay.
It's
Oh,
jail
unfortunate.
food.
Yeah.
jail food.
All right, our episode this week, we're gonna do a little bit of the champion stuff that we didn't do last time. So we saved the pick'ems. Okay, that's the big juicy thing to get to later on in the episode. But to start with, we wanted to sprinkle in some bullshit, some noise to drown out the signal waves. And so we're taking a look at the Gambit interview from their coach, and then the streets are talking. But first of all, the Gambit coach did an interview. I can't remember with who,
VCT.
actually. With VCT themselves. Was that with Riot?
Oh, well, I don't know. The website was called, wasn't the website called VCT?
Yeah, VCT.GG.
Oh, VCT.GG. Who is that, though? Is that a Riot run thing?
Yeah. And
Oh,
the
it
person
is?
who did it was Jack Paca, I thought. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure this is.
All right, sweet. But it's Eng, and he was surprised. I don't know whether he was being candid or whether he was throwing people off the scent, because the quote picked for the title is, "I'm not very happy with the preparation coming into Champions. which I don't think you'd see another coach in the scene say that.
Yeah, I mean that's the antithesis of the classic coach quotes going into this. I think this whole past month of Gambit has all just been a ruse, throwing the other teams off the scent. Look at how we play on Split against Ascend. Sova, Defo, dashing in. It was all to throw the other teams off the scent. Oh no, we got 13-0'd. They did that on purpose. I think they've been playing everyone the whole time.
Really? Okay. Because Eng is saying in these quotes that they prepared exactly the same as how they usually do, but the preparations are not going well. I mean, I think in that paragraph you just pulled up, Kurt, he said something like, based on our prep before the boot camp, we would have made top 8 maximum. He said, if I was asked to rate our form before the boot camp, our maximum result would have been top 8. I've genuinely never heard a coach say that before coming into a big event. Normally because, especially like American coaching philosophy seems to be, at least from esports, I get this feel, is that you have to be confident, even if you're not. Otherwise, people feed off the lack of confidence and themselves doubt, and the doubt can eat away. It worms away at people's in-game performance. That's at least the theory. But Eng is like, nah, fuck it, I'm just going to be real. Or throw everyone for a loop.
This did make me worried, the article about it, because I went into the Red Bull tournament watching their match versus Ascend and thinking, okay, well, they're trying some new shit on Split. They're trying some new stuff. And on Bind, I was like, well, Bind are playing the usual stuff, but Nats isn't having a good game. But I was willing to write it off as a little bit of whatever, just you don't want to give away too much. You're going into the tournament just because you're trying this, that, or the other. But yeah, I mean, hearing it from the coach's mouth and how they are not confident really in their own prep themselves does make me a little bit concerned, because the implication there is that they don't even see themselves as heavy favorites. It could be something to throw people off the scent, but this is a very candid interview.
It seems like it. He does say, though, in that earlier paragraph, that before the boot camp, he would have said top 8, and afterwards, now he thinks, or at least during the boot camp, he thinks top 4.
Which is...
So top 4 is actually very reasonable, even for a favorite. Like a tournament favorite at this tournament could still make top 4, and you'd think, okay, well, they did pretty well, depending on how it actually played out. But
I think Russian coaches are generally like, just in other sports, and I follow like Russian chess people. The Russian school of chess is a very, very thing in there, and they're always harsh, on prep, their expectations, all that stuff, just because that's the way they are, that's the culture. But I also don't think, like, especially when we heard from interviews of Eng at Berlin Masters, like, it was very similar. All the mentality was always, yeah, we think we're good, but we're playing here for experience. That was literally what they were saying in the finals interviews after they won. They were like, we were just playing for experience. We were just playing to feel the moment and stuff like that, not necessarily expecting to win. So I think that's not surprising to me, and that doesn't make me fear at all. Minus the top 8 stuff, and just general, like, the way that he's talking about before boot camp and after. I think there's a part in this, I'm not sure if I can find it. I won't look for it, but he says basically, like, after winning Masters, they were not focused. They weren't the same team. They lost a little bit of the drive that they had or whatnot, something like that. And that to me is more scary than anything else. But as the boot camp progresses, they gain that back, right? So it's like going back against what he was talking about before. It's literally just talking from the coach. Like,
I think it's all realistic as well. I mean, very candid and transparent interview in terms of that. And if they were trying to kind of point people into a different direction as well, because here's the thing, Gambit do have a huge target on their backs. The same way Sentinels did coming into Berlin itself, Gambit now have the target on their backs that everybody is worried about. As a team,
I would say so.
They're the team that everybody's going to be doing prep on for, especially because they got an easier group. They're going to be assuming they're making it out of their group. A lot of teams taking it one step at a time, of course, but you know that when you're up against Gambit, the team's going to be putting everything into essentially trying to dissect them. They've had a lot of matches played. There's a lot to look upon in terms of their game as well. You can see from these groups, they get an easy group.
They got the easiest group possible. I mean, Eng's saying top 8 before boot camp. they could wake up having not scrimmed for weeks and still make top 8 because they are guaranteed to get out this group.
Wait to the pick'ems.
No, I'm not waiting until the fucking pick'ems. Gambit are getting out of this group in first seed, and if you say otherwise, you're smoking the hot stuff.
I don't know what Bren has been cooking up for this pick'em.
I think Bren's been lighting the Gambit pumpkin on fire, and that Gambit pumpkin has been rotting from the inside out for weeks because it's months and months out of date, and he's just been huffing the fumes.
It's still there on our counter.
Yeah, I mean, it's still surviving, but it's not safe for consumption, Bren. You're high. You're high.
Listen, we'll wait until the pick'ems.
Yeah, but my point being that they're almost certain to get top seed out of their group.
Stick around for this. if this is where we're taking the pick'ems, if this is what we're doing with the pick'ems,
I'll fight him if you will.
I'm going home.
We have to show a united front. We can't let him overpower us.
Show confidence, unlike Aang.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, yeah, kind of. I mean, I'd like to live in a world where Gambit are just playing everyone, but I think in reality it's just giving some
this interview though, how is that playing anybody?
I know.
Like,
I know it's not.
You're literally just, we have a big target on their back. By the way, we suck right now.
That would be hilarious though.
Yeah.
God, that would be funny.
In terms of the Red Bull stuff, I do have, this is before the streets are talking, I talked, this isn't really the streets, this is the casters across the hall, right? The EU guys, I forget who it was, maybe Tom, talking about like Gambit before Red Bull. Nats had COVID before that, and apparently they just didn't practice because Nats like had serious COVID. So they just didn't practice, and that might speak to not only his results at Red Bull, but also just the team and how they're playing. Because apparently
the thing is though, at Red Bull, I don't like when you looked at how they played that map of Split. It wasn't improvisational.
No,
they had
it was all set stuff.
They had a lot of really set stuff. So they must have been practicing to some degree, and they must have been trying to play that comp. I don't think they necessarily had to have been playing the Sova because the Sova wasn't involved in as much of the set stuff. But
really? You think so?
Well, the Sova had like set recons to help other people's setups, but I think most of the set stuff was around Defo, then Shados like stunning and flashing and stuff, and then also the Astra. So I think that trio formed a lot of the set plays, and then the Sova would like fire a set recon that landed at the right time. But that kind of stuff, if you've ever played Sova on Split, which I'm sure Chronicle has like occasionally, he might know enough to just kind of slot that in.
Chucking some stuff out.
Yeah, but they had clearly practiced that comp to some degree for some reason. And I'm inclined to believe that it's because they want to add some element of defo hard carry strats to their style if they need to. I don't think they'll be playing like this all the time, but I think having a match where you just scrim this one style for 13, it was like 28 rounds or something, but 13 attack rounds. It's useful practice to see kind of where you can push it and how good defo is against a top tier opponent, to see whether you can add like one or two of those rounds into your normal setups.
Yeah. No, I think that anybody saying that this game was like not prepped and they were just like trolling completely and stuff like that, I think that's definitely not the case.
I think they wouldn't have watched it if that was the case.
Yeah. But I do think that there's another theory here, which is maybe the split, that comp specifically was not necessarily for that map. I know this sounds really stupid. This is something that popped in my head, and you can call me stupid for it if you want. But because you're playing Breach on Fracture, you're playing. You want to just play it as much as possible to get a little bit more experience on it, right? Just to learn how it feels on other situations. Put yourself in situations with different agents that you're playing against, and just like see how it works with Astra and stuff like that. Because the Breach Astra combo on Fracture is really good. Yeah,
this composition on Fracture would be fine. Not many people are playing the Sova, but who was it that was playing Sova? Actually, I think it was was it Ascend? Was Zeke playing Sova on this map? There's like one team in Europe that's going to champs that was playing Sova on Fracture, and I think it was Ascend with Zeke. I don't think Gambit have shown what
the Fracture map for Ascend was definitely a troll. So.
Well, they actually had snippets from the coaches' comms in that tournament, though. There was like a weird thing. Maybe a lot of our viewers won't know this because they don't watch as much of the European stuff, but the Spanish broadcast was dipping into the tactical pauses from LVP, which I've never seen before in a tournament. And the players were pissed about it as well, because I guess they didn't realize it was going on or something until it happened the first time. But I don't understand how that happens, because you have to drag the players into the LVP Discord in order to listen in. Like, the LVP casters can't just grab your comms from your own Discord unless there's a bot that they've put in there, which you would know. So I don't know how that happened, but anyway, the coaches were talking to them, and like NBS was talking to Ascend and telling them not to run improv stuff and to only run what they had been doing in scrims when they were playing on Fracture. So even though it looked really messy, I think they were trying to at least get some like match prep. And anyway, this is the I think we've said our piece on the Gambit interview, though. I want to talk about what the streets are saying, because you said, Balla, that you've been talking to some of the casters. I know at Berlin you were sneaking conversations, fist bumping people down the hallways, but you've been locked in jail. How much are the corridors talking? Like the bathrooms? How much are the bathrooms talking?
Yeah. I was in the bathroom and I heard some things. There is a lot of people talking, everywhere. Mm-hmm. You could hear them. Just put your ears to the wall. They're everywhere. There's some hype guys around one team in specific, okay? And there's also some really, really unhyped stuff going around too. Okay. So first off, Vision Strikers. I got a phone call.
It's the streets. It's the streets.
They're calling. Hello, streets. No.
Oh, no. Scrim just finished. The report's coming in.
Fucking. Hold up.
You gotta take this call. All right.
Okay. That's so funny.
I mean, I love how that just sounds like a 30-year-old phone.
No, it's an old phone. Does.
I mean, just
it's the fucking the bat phone is calling.
Oh my god. Okay, well, here on the outside. Oh wait.
No, he's back.
Okay. All right. I just got a call from somebody. I can't reveal my sources. Stax is impressing people, guys. Stax is impressing people on another level. Vision Strikers in general, I
heard the same thing actually.
Multiple people on the streets have been saying A-tier team, S-tier team, some would say.
I saw Mitch, man, rating them, I think, as like the second best team, and I thought that was just nonsense coming into the event because they haven't played since Berlin, and they only played 3 games at Berlin. So I was wondering if it had been based on some scrimbucks. Because normally when you see a team massively inflated compared to where most people would put them, and it's like somebody that's at the event, it's because they've heard some scrimbucks rumors and they're overrating the team based on if those scrimbucks pay off. That happens all the time in Overwatch as well when people are like talking to the players and stuff too. Here it is from Mitch, actually. Gambit, Vision Strikers at number 2, and then Cloud9 at number 3, and DDK at Cloud9 winning the whole thing as well, which I thought was just absurd. But I don't think that's I think that might just be based on them watching LCQ and being impressed rather than anything else. But Vision Strikers.
That follows your... I can't remember if this was your actual take or if you were just trying to Wolf of Wall Street sell it a little bit and get people to invest.
Okay.
Which was that the Vision Strikers were the second best team at Berlin. It's just that they got knocked out by Gambit in the first round. I know you were saying that.
I thought that was theoretical.
Theoretical.
Yeah.
So it sort of follows that same line of logic, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't currently hold that opinion because I think it's impossible to do so with any level of confidence.
Sure.
But if the streets be talking, then maybe it be possible.
I mean,
anything in particular? Like anything about the way that they're playing or what Stax is doing?
I don't want to say anything specific because this person's don't leak anything. Right. So anybody else can go on it because there was specifics, but
I heard some loose. My ear is not as close to the ground as what it used to be, mainly because I'm not in Berlin.
You're a tall guy as well.
Yeah, I'm also tall. It takes a lot of effort to get down there. But I've had people posting clips from other players in Europe who have been scrimming against teams. These are like some minor, not minor, but some of the EU players.
EU like tier 2 kind of teams?
Like some smaller streams, people coming in and asking, what do you think of the teams you've scrimmed so far that are going to be at champs, and getting a lot of information from that. Some early glimpses at what people think are good teams and bad teams.
Okay.
I'll talk about Stax. Stax apparently was one of them. I don't know if the player actually did scrim against him. I think the player was largely basing it off of ranked. Apparently, Stax has been terrorizing the EU ranked servers. Stax has apparently been terrorizing the EU ranked servers, just absolutely shredding.
I mean, the guy is. We all had him on our top 20 list, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
I think we did when we made those lists for a good reason. I mean, he's probably the best player in Korea. He IGLs. He's the best breach in the world. He's also pretty nuts when it comes to the Sky. He played a fantastic job of. I mean, he's just a good player. Anything else from the streets, Balla?
Yeah. This is going to disappoint Wyatt, like by a lot.
Oh, I've heard
Brazil is apparently tragic in scrims again. But to the effect that there have been consequences, that's about as much as I could say.
Do you mean they've been like blacklisted from scrimming certain teams? I mean, I'm trying to get some more juice here. See that the weird thing is
trying to get a little bit more juice out of that orange, just squeeze a little bit more out.
Listen, I'm gonna out my source because they were talking publicly about it in my Twitch chat, and people have the logs and posted it to Reddit and stuff.
The Vivo kid.
Yeah, NBS, the coach of Ascend, was in my chat while I was doing a VOD review of Ascend and Gambit, and so I asked him, "Oh, do you have any little bits of juice to spill?" And he was like, "Okay, I'll throw some little tidbits your way." And he said they had scrimmed a number of teams at champs, but not the people from like their group, and they hadn't scrimmed everybody. But I think he said they'd scrimmed like 9 teams at champions, and they had only lost to 1 team out of that 9. And he asked, "Oh, which team do you reckon it's going to be?" And I thought, okay, well, my immediate thought was Cloud9, but because the way in which he phrased the question, he gave me different regions. He said, "Do you think they're from North America, South America, or Asia?" And I was like, well, I think the fact he's even included South America in there would lead me to believe that it was Vivo Keyed. Just because they have a large amount of theoretical firepower with Heat and Murray's and MW on the team. Mm-hmm. So that was my guess. And he was like, "Yeah, you're right. It was Vivo Keyed. Vivo Keyed beat Ascend in a scrim, and he said that they were pretty fucking good." So that was the only thing I'd heard about the Brazilian teams at all. So there are 3 Brazilian teams at the event, though.
What I've heard, the latest Brazilian information that has reached my inbox.
Here we go.
Was that evidently? I mean, this is just an egregious segment, by the way. I mean, this segment is so bad. I mean, it's awful.
Yep.
And we're just going into pick'ems right after this.
I mean,
we're actually just infecting our own brain.
What have you heard?
We are.
You can't
with nonsense.
The latest that has hit my inbox, okay, is that for some of the Brazilian teams, things started off rough in practice, but the training's going better.
Okay.
Specifically, Vikings and Vivo Keyed.
Right.
Furia are apparently not doing so well. They are lost and drenched in sauces.
Right. Okay.
So that
multiple sauces.
That is the latest Brazilian update that I've heard.
So you're selling a little bit of copium that the bad information, or not the bad information, but the information about them being bad from Balla, you're saying potentially outdated, and maybe the copium is that they've improved.
Furia, depending on what teams you're talking about, or who they played, or if it was just Brazil in general. I don't know. That's what. Listen, that's
I love it all. I love all of the nonsense speculation.
I mean, I have so much more nonsense.
Well, first I want to hear from Balla. I want to milk Balla fully before we move on to milking somebody else.
Nonsense.
Yeah.
Yep. Number 8 on the Christmas Carol.
Yep. 8 maids of milking. That's us right now. And the udder is at Balla's. We won't talk about where the udder is.
Balla's what? Huh? Balla's what? Huh? All right. There's nothing like crazy egregious anymore. It's just like rating the teams. I've gotten a bunch of people just like, this team's okay, this team's good. I've heard mixed things about the NA teams. Everybody is impressed about Cloud9 though. Like this is some serious stuff right here. Everybody's impressed with Cloud9 more than they like expected, I guess.
Right.
So, but the rest of them, it's like mixed messages. Sentinels has been whatever. Apparently, Zombs dropped 40 in a scrim. Everybody heard about that, but everybody's like, yeah, Sentinel's still good. Envy is still good, but maybe not as good as we thought. Same with Sentinels. It's like all mixed messages.
Okay.
See, also the other piece of juice from the Ascend coach was that from their scrims against the teams that they'd played against, I know I'm not saying they played against all the NA teams because he didn't clarify that, but he said Sentinels were the best of the NA teams that they had played against. But that doesn't mean they played against all of them. So
yeah. See, now something that I heard is that. And this is some actual. I'm refilling the hopium tanks of the people. I am refilling all the empty hopium tanks. Those Sentinels fans who have been saying for the past couple months, Berlin was just one tournament. They're running out. They're running out of hopium, and I'm here to refill it.
Okay.
Because what I've heard
fill my tanks
is that right now, Sentinels, they might be at the very top of the scrim hierarchy. That's what
the tippity top.
I've heard that. I've gotten an anonymous tip that the Sentinels might be all the way at the top.
Okay.
One more thing. This is again back. This hurts Brazil again, but not necessarily the way that you think. Okay. Sorry, Wyatt, but multiple people from multiple sewer valves or whatever that come out from the street have snuck their head out and they
Master
said,
Splinter?
"This guy," Master Splinter comes out. Kesnet, you've heard of this guy? He's really good. He could be the next Simple, is what I've heard.
Who the fuck is saying he could be the next Simple? There's degrees that you get to before you get to Simple.
It might be a little bit of embellishment from Master Splinter, Master
a little
Roshi.
bit of embellishment.
But multiple people in the sewers have told me Kesnet is tearing it up, tearing it up.
Yeah.
And the reason that's bad for Brazil is because Crew is going to knock out Brazil again. That's just factual.
I'm telling you, I can feel that.
Well, wait, what Brazilian team is in the Crew group?
Furia.
I mean, yeah, they are.
Unlucky.
I mean,
Wyatt's already given up on Furia.
I have no hope in Furia. No, I have negative hope in Furia. I have some semblance of hope in just Saucy to win out that Vikings group against Crazy Raccoon, and I have some hope in Keat. I have no hope in Furia whatsoever.
I have also
I
heard
have no Furia hopium at all.
Something back to the NA teams just briefly. The only thing I've heard about is Cloud9 impressing.
Okay.
In a singular map.
What?
That's all I've got. That's all I've got. I'm working with scraps.
What you've brought to the table. This is what you have brought to.
We played Cloud9. I can't remember who told me this. They said
he doesn't know his source.
They said
he has one.
We played Cloud9 for one map on Haven. They were really good.
Who scrims for one map at the pro level? Don't they do two? Surely a scrim block is two maps with a team.
I will say this. I think a lot of scrim books, we tend to embellish our stories. I'm telling you exactly where I got it from.
You're saying you don't know where you got it from.
I'm telling you exactly how much I got.
I'm not embellishing. I'm telling you. I'm passing on the hearsay.
You go.
That's what I'm doing.
I want to play a little guessing game with you guys.
Oh, I'd love to. Guess that player. Guess that team.
Yes, guess that team.
You're holding your phone like it's the One Ring.
Because last time, do you remember when I had Scrimbucks before Berlin?
Yes.
And Wyatt fucking rubbernecked his way over and was like, "Oh, nice sauce with a long name," and I was like, "Oh, hide the confidential information."
I'm not letting you guys see this. Which team do you think has been placed at the very bottom of the scrim hierarchy?
I would probably guess a team like X10.
I was going to say X10.
Balla.
Crazy Raccoon?
Team Secret.
Yeah, that makes sense to me as well. I mean, it would be X10 or Team Secret.
X10 are in the very middle of the...
Really? I mean, that surprises the
above
crap
teams such as Fnatic.
Okay.
If you could
off the back of that information.
Honestly, not
Wait,
too...
where's Full Sense?
Fnatic.
Now, I was going to give this one because when you were talking about Crew as well. Full Sense and Crew are actually near the top.
I think they're both
in the top 6.
top 6 though is so
They
high.
are both in the top 6 of the exclusive Scrim Bucks hierarchy.
The thing is, it's not that them being top 6 is weird in itself because they are good teams, but that means other teams have dropped underneath them that you would expect to be good.
Such as
Envy.
I mean, this listen.
All right, this guy is off the
Envy.
bro.
I mean, this could listen.
Envy.
I don't know. Listen, this could be based off. I don't know what this is. I mean, this is just an anonymous source. It's just a letter that shot through the mail.
We don't know.
Like an invite to go to Hogwarts. It just flew the fucking mail.
But there was something going around the Reddit recently as well about Envy losing to somebody in scrims. I can't remember who it was, but I can't exactly remember who that was. I don't know.
But do you guys buy that Full Sense and crew could be within the top 6 of this tournament? Do you think that's realistic?
No.
Top 6.
Well, it's simply not realistic because I don't believe there's any way Full Sense get out of their group. Because even if Full Sense were a top 6 team, like I think we rated Full Sense as the 9th or 8th best team in the tournament, right? Like that's where we actually power ranked them, but they can't even realize that equity because they're stuck
Do you
in their
think
group.
that there's just you really don't think that they could beat
Vision
Cloud9?
Strikers and Cloud9 have also been allegedly popping off.
Rated very
and
highly.
Already you would rate them higher than that team even if we didn't know anything about the scrims.
Yeah.
And they'd have to... I know. They'd have to beat both of them as well. It's not like they initially match up against Fnatic, right? They initially match up against Vision Strikers. And if they lose that game, they would have to beat like a Fnatic or Full Sense... They'd have to beat Fnatic and Cloud9 in order to get out the group, something like that.
They would. If they lose the Vision Strikers, they'd have to beat if Vision Strikers. I mean, we'll get to the.
Yeah, we'll get to the pick'ems, but I just don't think it's possible.
Yeah,
You guys,
it would be tough. That's about the extent of the
you guys,
the streets that have been speaking to me.
You guys got anything on Fnatic?
No, well, I mean, I did give one that are pretty. Doing poor.
I tried to get a specific street, Fnatic street, to talk, and they said we're tragic, and literally the entire street just blew me off the street. They said we're tragic, and nobody should expect anything from us. Directly from Fnatic street.
Really?
Yeah.
I see that makes me suspicious because what I've heard,
Okay.
What did you hear, Bren?
So my expectations coming to the tournament for Fnatic are pretty low. Like they have looked like they're trying to like get their bearings. They're playing different comps and different maps on the same maps in some cases. A bit all over the place. But of the limited information that I've got, Fnatic were another team that actually impressed in scrims.
Okay.
The follow-up to the sentence, by the way, was nobody should expect anything from us and keep up the narrative. So, Bren, you're breaking NDA with this street.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit suspicious, because I think that there's a lot of...
I'm not.
I'm not suspicious. I'm simply not.
I have
Fnatic
no
have looked.
suspicions.
Fnatic have looked pretty poor in their matches coming into Champions.
They have.
They also didn't perform well in scrims before Reykjavik, even when they went on a big run. But they had performed well in matches. The idea that Fnatic would look bad in matches but really good in scrims goes counter to everything we've known about this team up until now, and it would just surprise the shit out of me. And again, I actually have less confidence they can make it out their group, but I think they can definitely still end in third. I think if there's a world in which, just the LAN experience manages to beat out Full Sense when it actually comes to the match.
Sure.
I'm done.
Are we all juiced out?
That's all the juice that I have.
All the juice? That's all the juice?
Yep.
Okay. Then it's time to move on to the pick'ems. Prepare your brains because Bren's got some dumb shit. We've all been infected with Scrimbucks, and this is going in nonsense directions really fast.
No. I'm going to be very standard, but I have one section, and we'll get to
I mean,
it.
I don't believe
I
you.
have one that you guys are going to get mad at, and I'm not even going to try to debate it because it's just not going to happen. So it's fine.
All right, well, let's start with Group A. Let's start Group A. It's a pretty interesting group, actually. It's what I would consider to be a standard group. You've got two favorites, one potential upset, and one that most people are just completely counting out. That's how normally these groups would work. Let's start with the first game. Ascend against Vivo Keyed.
This, for me, is, are we going to see online Ascend or are we going to see LAN Ascend with the underperforming players? and are the rumors of Vivo Keyed popping off going to translate into a LAN performance as well? Because there is a possibility. I think the most likely scenario is Ascend comes out on top in this match, but early on in the tournament, nerves running high. We know that Ascend on LAN, a little bit shaky. There's a real world where Vivo could take this match.
I agree with you, especially with Ascend starting out the tournament. I think it might be a little shaky to start things out. And I'm concerned that if they lose this game, they might just lose all levels of confidence and end up like losing the decider match as well. But to me, this tournament and this match is a good litmus test for Ascend. I'm not really confident which way it'll go, but I think the players on Ascend should be thinking about it as their opportunity to prove that Berlin was just shaky nerves, first time LAN events kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And actually what they're capable of is what they've shown online. Because for players, particularly Starzo, but also Bone Cold, especially in terms of Bone Cold's IGLing, they've got to show better than they did at Berlin. And I think hopefully they will, but they haven't given... There's nothing about them dominating online, or not even dominating, but there's nothing about their online performances, or even that LAN win over Movistar Riders that gives me confidence that they're going to be better.
One thing for me...
It's just hope.
No, it's that Bone Cold won't be playing Astra. Because when Bone Cold was on Astra, there was a definitive drop in his performance as he's IGLing. There's a lot going on at the same time. He's been playing more comfortable agents now, especially recently in these tournaments. You look at his stats, past 60 days, hasn't played any Astra. Past 90 days, he played it 4 times, and it was in Berlin. Or Berlin.
That doesn't make me more confident.
Since moving away from it, I think it was one of the larger issues for them. Like Bone Cold at Berlin, he looked all right when he was in 1v something scenarios, funnily enough, because he didn't have to think as much.
Yeah, I agree with that. But also, he was playing Omen on Haven against Vision Strikers when his brain PP overheated.
That's true.
And they just completely
But he has completely sacked off, it seems, in recent times, the Astra, which I think there's a ceiling to Ascend's play if you don't have him on the Astra, but I think they should be looking better, is my point.
I think that's a hot take. I think most people would assume Ascend off Astra equals they're
I've all the same, but watching the games, I'm kind of... I think, the fact that they're playing comfortable comps is a boon for them, but I definitely think there's a ceiling towards it.
Yeah, sure. I think that's a fair way of analyzing it. What do you think, Balla?
I think that the LAN jitter stuff, whatever, didn't actually show up in the first game.
Yep.
Believe it or not. And it was against a team that's not that far away from Keyed in terms of hype, individual skill, stuff like that, which was SMB, right? Mm-hmm. And they dispatched them in the first game, the opening game, very, very hard. And they looked really good, actually, to start off.
True.
So I would still expect that same sort of thing to happen. And I also feel like, I know I was saying the last couple episodes I was on that I don't necessarily think that they've solved their issues based off the stuff that we saw at Red Bull and whatnot. But I do think that the way that rewatching those matches, the way that CNET is informed, the way that Zeke is informed, Starkso also contributing a lot in terms of clutch stuff and that sort of thing, has boosted my impression of them going into this. This is not them not playing for, what was it, a month and a half or a month before Berlin last time. They played 2 weeks ago, and they looked damn good against, in my mind, one of the favorites of the tournament. So I'm not worried about them in this match. And I actually think, Bren, that they should play Astra, especially against Keyed Stars.
Well,
I know they didn't play it against SMB.
Well,
what's that?
Is it Starzo that plays it?
Starzo plays it specifically on Ascent because Bone Cold plays KO.
Right. Yeah.
Normally, it would not be Starzo playing it, and that would be I think that would be a huge mistake if they had Starzo full-time playing Astra. Not because it's Astra's bad, but because Bone Cold would then be playing like Sky or some shit, which is just mental.
But that could be a rule change that's coming, and who knows how that'll affect them. That'll throw everything for a loop, but I still think just by raw talent and the way that they play, they should be able to take out Keyed. No problem.
Are you on the same page, or are you on the Brazilian hopium?
I was going to make the same point as Balla about Ascend starting the tournament well against SMB in their first match, and that being a comfortable one. And that when the nerves started to show was when it was crunch time and they were on the verge of being eliminated.
Right.
Against SMB the second time, like specifically on the third map in that. I think Ascend are going to win this first game.
Okay. Well, let's lock it in against Ascend. We'll probably have another opportunity to talk about it again, and maybe the scenario being different in that lower bracket qualifier or decider. Does anyone have anything to say about Envy X10, or is it just an obvious pick for Envy? It seems like it from my point of view.
I mean, I think Envy. Yeah, I mean, I think it's an easy pick for Envy.
Yep.
But I could see X10 doing okay, getting like 8-ish, 7-8 rounds, something like that on the maps, doing decently. Because I still have. I mean, it was a long time ago since we've really seen them internationally.
Yeah, that's why I have no expectations.
But if they have a similar level of confidence and some good firepower, and so they've cooked up some stuff like they did in Iceland that was netting them some rounds there. I could see them getting some cheeky rounds, getting some cool round wins against Envy, but I don't see them beating Envy.
Well, then what about the
world?
What about the lower game against Vivo Keed? X10 against Vivo Keed. If X10 you think is able to put up some level of fight against Envy, does that extend to Vivo Keed as well? Because in my mind, this just ends up with Keed being.
I think Keed definitely win this, but I think again this could be. I think this could be a decently close game, but Keed will win.
Mm. Any dissenting opinions from the others?
I think Keed should be the favourites here. Based on what we know.
Okay.
I mean, just based off Heat alone, Heat and Mirrors alone,
like the talent they got on that.
Yes.
I'm so interested actually to see what the setup is with MW and Muriz, because Muriz has played Sova in the past, MW hasn't particularly. But Muriz was so good at that secondary duelist role where they were just playing Jett Raynor on most of the maps that maybe that's just something they go with the whole time. Anyway, winner upper bracket final. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, just this is a general point about the group. This is a really freaking cool group because it's just literally the group of Jets. You have CNED, you have Heat, you have Ye, and you have Patavan.
Yeah.
And every single one of these, I looked this up while I was prepping for the event. Every single one of these guys in their international events, they were top 4 in ACS. Every single one. And this is for X10 losing 2 matches at Reykjavik, or was it 2 matches? Yeah, in 3 total matches.
They won 1,
2 losses. Yeah. And Keed, 3 total matches, losing 2. Again, top 4 ACS in 3 matches, 2 losses for both of them. That's crazy. And he was top ACS at Berlin.
Yep.
He actually. Did you get the stats from VLR, Balla?
Oh yeah, this is some bug shit.
You've been trolled a little bit, but you need to use runitback.gg. VLR fudges their ACS calculations, but anyway, that's me being very nerdy about it. Ascend Envy upper bracket to be able to get out of the group in first seed. Envy made it to the finals. Ascend got knocked out in quarters. If we're talking about Berlin performances, does that translate into your confidence levels here as well? Or are we reading into the scrimbucks of Envy being in the middle?
No, I think Envy are winning this. I don't buy that. I don't care what they're doing.
We got robbed of this match at Berlin because of Ascend choking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty confident in Envy winning out this group.
I am less confident because I am not as big of a fan of the point of Ascend. Early on in the groups when they played against SMB, I felt like SMB were not cream of the crop opponent to be able to determine whether or not they were choking at that point. Both of the teams, I think, were underperforming at the start of Berlin. And my expectation is for Ascend to keep on performing below their online levels, moving into the tournament still. I'd love to be upset with that, or proven wrong in terms of my expectations. But yeah, I'd
also like to throw this stat at you. Envy, despite getting to the finals, never won a map against an EMEA team.
I knew you were going to say that.
That's just the truth.
Did they lose any?
Yeah, they did. They lost 3. The Gambit.
Oh, yeah. I guess they lost them to Gambit.
They have a 100% loss rate to EMEA. No, but even though that's just me being a dickhead with that stat, genuinely, the fact that they made their run by beating domestic opponents that they really understand how they play, they beat 100 Thieves, they beat Sentinels, or the other way around, they beat Sentinels, then 100 Thieves. But the fact that they knew their opponents so deeply, I think contributes to our thought process around how good Envy looked at Berlin. Agreed. I would have loved to see them tackle Ascend or something like that beforehand, so I could get a feel for what they're like going up against other opponents, like the superstar Jett player that plays a little differently to somebody like Tens with much more AWPing, whatever it may be. Yeah. I still think they're the favorites coming in here, but I want to put that out there that Envy's run to the final did not include beating international competition that was at the same tier level as them. So,
and I want to pose a question, and this. I don't know what the answer is. I'm actually feeling Ascend in this matchup, just overall. But the specific matchup of CNED versus Ye, how do you guys think that pans out? Has Ye ever played against an opera of the CNED caliber? Because I don't think that, aside from Shazam, and even then I would argue that CNED is much better.
Yeah.
I don't think he has.
There are no AWPers of CNED's caliber. CNED is on his own, and the next best is possibly Ye. And so by the time you get to the third best, no, Ye hasn't really played against anybody of CNED's caliber, but I don't think that's a knock on Ye.
No, I don't think it is either. But that's where I just want to pose that question, because that is unclear how Ye will perform against somebody like CNED.
Yeah.
Because that an Opper is specifically somebody who will play very aggressively and also be able to play in situations where you're playing aggressive on him. That's very, very important. Now, I think back and I think about how CNED played in Berlin against Nitro, for example, in Breeze in the last one, and in some cases getting diffed by Nitro even, makes me not really think that that's a concern at all, but definitely something that will be interesting in this match. The reason I'm feeling Ascent is just that, once again, maybe a little bit of the Josh point, but NV, I feel like will get thrown off by the way that Ascend play in such a, like, I don't know, they will do things that Envy aren't used to. The way that Zeke plays, the way that he's able to double satchel into your face and stuff like that, and in very coordinated ways in some cases that are off the cuff and just like random, I think will play into Envy and kind of tilt them a little bit. And I think that is a problem for Envy. Tilt in specific. Yeah. I think that's a big problem. Because that grand finals, watching them, that grand finals, I was seeing them specifically lose hope from the first map starting on and just continuing to drain. And on Haven, by that time, they were completely just gone.
I do think, though, that was some of the pressure of the moment, too, getting to them, which that doesn't exist in a group stage game like this. It's not an elimination game, even. It's them playing against an opponent they believe themselves to be the favorites. Also, I just think that even though you're phrasing it as they play in an unusual manner, a lot of the Ascend comps are behind the meta by months. Partly because of their lack of Astra, but also because they're just running like the Omen Cypher Sage on Split, like these kind of things.
I think also...
Well, specifically Split, I don't think that just because it's behind the meta comp-wise doesn't mean that's behind the meta like play-wise.
I think it is, though. I don't think that composition functions as well as...
They played it in Red Bull a lot because it was their opponents picking it.
Yeah, probably.
Most of the time.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, each team has 2 bans, right, with the new 7-map pool. So actually, you can ban out more of the pool that you're uncomfortable with this tournament compared to previous. Previously you only got 1 ban, and then the final map was
no, I know what you're saying, but I'm saying I don't know if this is public information, but regardless, the way the ban system works is it's ban, pick, ban, and then the last map. So there's no difference.
Yeah.
In the way that it works in terms of best of 3s. I mean, there's obviously a difference, but you still get to play the same amounts of the opponent's prep.
I see. Oh yeah. Okay, so that's different compared to how I was thinking about it.
We've been on this point for a while, so I don't want to take up too much time, but I do want to say that I think CNED with their reliance, with Ascend with their reliance on CNED, I feel like if you're going up against Ye, that's a bad time in most scenarios. Could be potentially a bad matchup with a caliber player like Ye up against one of your star player, and they lean on CNED a lot.
Is anyone feeling like Balla, where they're going for Ascend in this matchup? Or is it kind of 3-1?
I don't think so.
I think the supporting cast on Envy is so much better than on Ascend.
I'm
on a 1-to-1.
If you're out there, Starzo, turn up at this fucking LAN event, please. For God's sake, show people how good you are. If he has the same performance as he did at Berlin, then I agree with that statement. If he turns up, I think that'll make the key difference, potentially.
I feel so bad as well, because I had Starzo in my top 20 in terms of my expectations for him moving forwards. But
but you just can't believe when it matters. Well, do you believe in them in the final match? I mean, if they're in the decider
yes,
here...
absolutely. I think
do believe in them this time?
For sure.
Right.
Yes. I believe in Ascend over Vivo.
Because talking about what Balla and Wyatt were phrasing it earlier, it was more to do with this match where Ascend looked a bit crumbly.
Keep will win here. But
you think this is the lead upset?
Yeah, I think so.
I was not on the Wyatt train where it was the third match. I thought they crumbled against Vision Strikers, and that was it. Vision Strikers, they looked
Ball and I were just agreeing about that they were good in the first game against SMB. That game they were fine.
Either way, that's not a narrative that I'm following up on. I'm just talking about the opening, and after that, like it is what it is. I think it's just what the skill level of them is going to be, not necessarily that they're going to continue to have those land nerfs and they're going to happen at the same time. That's some spooky shit.
Sure, I think this decider match we're gonna know after seeing the upper bracket who wins this game. I feel like heading into it, you'll be able to tell which version of Ascend we're getting. But at this point, we have no extra information to go on.
Yep.
I think there is a decent chance that Vivo Key gets out of this group, but I still think Ascend are the favorite, so I'm going to go for them. But I understand that, and I think it's not an unreasonable pick. You're with Ascend as well?
I agree with you as well. Yeah, I think Ascend are one of the better teams that are going to be at this event. Just the outside of the top favorites for me personally in terms of who's going to win champs, but they're just outside.
To me, I would still put them in that group, but they are the most likely to get upset in groups. That's how I think
just
about
because,
it.
Whoa.
Out of
in
all
this
of the
group or in groups?
In all of the groups, of any of the favorite teams, they're the most likely to get upset, is what I think. Because Vivo Kid have some level of punching power in that group as well. So that's what I'm thinking about it anyway. Let's move on to Group B. So we have Liquid Crew to start things off. Now, is anyone on the Crewpium? You will get major bonus points from the viewers who are also high off their fucking tits on this stuff constantly.
I feel bad for the Crew fans, man, because look at this group. It's a bit of a monster group. I feel the same way for people who are fans of Full Sense in their group, which we're going to get on later. But against Liquid, no chance. Liquid are one of my favorites, I think, to win the entirety of champs based off how they've been playing recently.
I also think it's not a great matchup for them because Crew tend to play like an EMEA team, but maybe a little more loose. But they tend to stack their teams with a bit more of like the utility setups and these kind of set plays that they use too. But I think Liquid will have seen it all before. To me, Crew is like the shadow of a top EMEA team when I watch them.
Do you think still recently? I think at Berlin they changed that narrative, especially like in their last match against Vivo Kid. I thought that was just a very scrappy match in general. Maybe the comps are the same, and
I attributed
it's the compositions, but they play them much more individualistically. But they still aim for the synergies that are trying to happen in those comps.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they're going to play like that. Doesn't mean that they play like an EU team, then, right? That just means that sure the comps are familiar and the types of utility that will be thrown at you, will be similar, but the way that they're thrown at is completely different. The timings and the way that people are peaking is. I don't agree with that, but either way, I still think Team Liquid are going to roll them.
Yeah, I think Liquid win this.
Okay,
I mean
Sentinels Furia.
I think Sentinels are just winning.
Sentinels, yeah.
Well,
you're huffing and puffing like you want to make a counterpoint.
I'm not. I'm just. I'm not making a counterpoint whatsoever. I'm just kind of another flumpy thing for Brazil is what we're predicting here. Crew Furia. Crew has always beaten the Brazilian team in the matchup at Reykjavik and at Berlin. Is it going to happen here again?
Yep.
I mean, even if you want to use the transitive process of the last chance qualifier and Australs and like them compared to Crew and how they perform, I mean, Crew.
That's part of the reason why I thought that
Crew are just winning.
Crew versus Vivo Kid felt more scrappy. I thought because they were at least that they're going to be playing each other not regularly, but in their own region as well in terms of practice. It's an opponent that they're going to be used to, and to a degree, and I think Crew are are going to have the advantage in a lot of those matchups. Yeah.
I just think at this point, Crew has way too much experience to be losing in a matchup against a first-time international team.
Sure.
Yep, I agree with that.
Liquid Sentinels. Now that is an interesting one. It never happened at Reykjavik, right? That wasn't. It was Fnatic that ended up knocking them out, and it was version 1 that knocked them to the lower bracket. So Liquid have never played against Sentinels, despite them both being at that Reykjavik tournament and both being, two of the favorite teams at that tournament. What happens in this match? Sell me a story. Who's on the Liquid train? Who's on the? Is anyone on that delicious hopium that you were selling earlier, Wyatt?
I will not be. I think I'm going to be on the Liquid.
Oh, okay.
You're having a liquid lunch instead of the gas lunch.
There is some. I have that lingering thought of like, no, Sentinel, they'll bounce back. They're the best team, but Liquid are just so good right now.
I think they'll bounce back, but Liquid's just
I
too
think
good.
I agree with you.
Think about this actual matchup. Liquid coming in with new meta, kind of, in the way that they're playing double op, and the way that Sentinels plays, which is use a lot of utility to take space and then make a decision afterwards, right? Use a lot of utility to, just push people off of plays, play for info, all that sort of thing. In my mind, gets kind of hard countered when you just have double op. And if you think about the next layer of that, Shazam is going to not use utility to take those certain things and whatnot, and then they're going to run into it and try to just push them off of places. But I genuinely think that even if you do that, they're still going to find ways to get in, because that's what they've been doing against the regular teams anyways.
No, I completely agree. Yeah, I think Sentinels will bounce back from their Berlin performance and they'll be a top contender, but I think Liquid right now are above them for me for similar reasons like you already said. Just they have more layers to them, I think, in terms of how they play the game with their ideas of the double op setups. Like that kind of throws a wrench in a lot of teams' plans in terms of how they like to play. And it's immensely powerful. You couple that with the fundamentals that this team has, and it's only been getting better and better and better the more experience they've had. They look good, which is prime setup for a bit of a cursing.
It really is, isn't it?
Yep.
It really is. I'll tell you, that's how it looked when they headed into Reykjavik as well, except that they were very ride or die with Yampi's entering, and now he is arguably the most consistent player on the team. But, the guys improved massively. I do want to say, though, this match, even though I'm with you guys and it's Liquid, it's going to be a fucking club banger, an all-time banger of a match, because we also have so many questions about Sentinels.
Yep.
We've heard that Shaz is moving to play full-time Sova for the team, and he's playing Sky on Split, so that means that Tens is probably going to be playing the Jett role on Icebox.
Which I love, by the way. I proposed that a while ago.
Yeah, that's really cool. That also leaves...
Where did you hear that?
Raucus said that they were going full-time, that Shaz was playing mostly Sova, and then Shaz said on stream... Why would he say that? I think because it's just obvious.
Why are they just revealing this? Like, it's so weird.
Yeah, I don't know. But the Shaz said on stream that he was now the one that was playing Sky for them on Split too. So it makes sense, though, that Tens would be picking that up. Yeah. To me, the big questions come around what Sick is doing for this team. Like, what is he playing when it comes to Icebox, for example, where Tens would usually be playing the Reyna? Is he playing Raze, or are they adding, like, the Killjoy? Is Dapper playing KJ and they're playing Sageless comps, so they don't even need Sick to have multi-roles there?
I could see Sick playing a lot more Raze.
Yeah. Or Sky. Forward. Like, has the guy picked up Sky to a superb high level? Like, he... looks like he has the potential to be able to do, but we just haven't seen it from him yet. That's what I want to... all of those questions, we'll start to get answers in this match. And listen, if Sentinels impress, they are going to be going fucking deep. I think if this is a banger, and if Sentinels win, holy shit, the stonks are going to be way back up. Yep. It's going to rebound like Zoms on a trampoline.
Is he known for his trampolining?
He wasn't known for dropping 40 either, but he did that. So
wow,
fuck knows, that's the
guy's
got hidden talents, hasn't he?
That's the scrims.
Sentinels crew. If this happens in the decider, sell me some croupium. Someone, somewhere, sell me some croupium.
I can't.
Please. A drop.
I can't. I do think that, I mean,
a drop for the folks at home.
I just don't. I think it's just unfortunate that crew are in this group. I think that they could keep it close. I think they could have some good maps against Sen, but they're not.
Yeah, L plus, I stopped caring halfway through your sentence because he said he could sell me something.
What are you selling?
The crew super fans.
Uh-huh.
The owner of the crew super fan club on social media.
Yep.
Puts together a little get-together in Berlin.
All right.
They meet the night before.
Okay.
They find where Wyatt are keeping the players' peripherals. The hidden location. Super secret.
Yeah.
Very hidden.
Okay.
But not to the crew super fans.
No, they get everywhere.
They've got their nose to the ground. They can sniff it out.
Yeah.
Much like they can sniff out the true dominant team of Berlin, i.e. crew. And they know how they're going to do it.
Okay.
They sneak into the facility at night.
Yep.
They take off the keycaps.
Yep.
And they swap out the switches from red cherry to black switches.
That doesn't seem like enough.
You got to be subtle with it. You got to be subtle with it.
Well, I mean, that's too subtle.
You got
That's
to be
not going
subtle
to give
with
you
it
an
because
advantage.
otherwise,
No, that makes
what are you going
sense,
to do? You're
right.
going to break the keyboards.
Yeah,
You get a replacement.
Yeah.
Keep it
Property
subtle.
damage is a bad idea.
They're also going to remove the little mouse pads, the little mouse pads,
Mouse
feet.
mouse pads, mouse feet. Gonna remove those, take those off, scrape them off.
Okay, a little bit of sandpaper on the mouse
a little bit
pad.
of sandpaper, just enough. A little bit of friction.
Throw 'em off the
keys
game.
aren't clicking. The keys aren't clicking. What's going on? What's going on? And suddenly Sentinels are in their own heads.
Sure.
Raucous is calling attack pause at like 5-0. And they're in their heads.
What is that copy pasta from Vision Strikers? Mako gear broken. Mako left whole gear at home. RB in shambles. Team comms not working. No hear footsteps. Like that's Sentinels in that game.
And that's how crew win.
Well, crew is still not winning even if that happens.
they're not. It's
Moving on to
Sentinels.
Group C.
We're going to get us more tech pauses.
Wait. Before Bren gets a choice, Gambit, they're through. Okay?
Yes.
Gambit, they're through.
So, analysis-wise, yes, you guys are speaking facts right now. That makes complete sense. But I want to take a look at the schedule real quick and look at the matches that are being played. So when we were doing a co-stream, I want to talk you through this. I want you to remember when we were doing a co-stream for Berlin, waking up at 5 o'clock in the fucking morning, okay?
Yep.
Milking the cows, watering the sunflowers, whatever the hell we were doing at that early on point. Did you ever look at the match schedule and think, oh my God, there's no good matches?
Yeah.
No good matches. That was many times, right?
For like 2 of the days, I think.
Many times, yeah.
A couple of days.
And there was a couple of scenarios where the matches on the day, actually, a bit of an upset. A good match, a good performance. Always at least one on that day.
Yeah, normally.
Thursday, December the 2nd, 2021.
God, he's got the file.
Gambit Esports versus Team Secret.
Okay.
Crew versus Liquid. Sentinels Furia. Set up to be one-sided matches.
Right.
The reality of the situation, Gambit lose the secret.
No, you're fucking off the goop, mate. Because they could still be an entertaining match if Team Secret, went 13-10 in one of the maps.
There's going to be an upset on that day.
I'm sleeping.
Brent, the
There's
Gambit
going to
game...
be an upset on that day. But I just wanted to say that story. I still think it's going to be Gambit.
I thought you were
we can move on. We can move on.
I thought you were going to propose they lose to Crazy Raccoon this time.
No.
No,
it was close last time.
It wasn't that close, though. They
was
nearly lost one map.
It was relatively close to being a 2-1 victory.
Yeah.
I apologize for having a trolling stick, but...
I'm not letting you get away with the trolling stick here. Gambit is making it out of this group.
Oh, no, they're going to make it out of the group.
Sweat.
They're just going to lose that first match.
In second seed. There's no way.
It's going to be a repeat of Berlin.
I don't believe it. But there's no 100 Thieves in their group.
Team Secret is 100 Thieves.
Bren, do you even know who's on Team Secret?
It's my old team.
Yeah, it's his org.
Oh, I don't know how I'd go at you like that. My bad.
It's my old team.
Yeah, don't disrespect him like that. He made bank off selling those guys to Team Secret.
Yep.
That's how Bren can afford to dress like this.
I think this Vikings Crazy Raccoon, I think this is hard to call.
I think this might
honestly.
be one of the closest games we have in the opening matches.
Because Crazy Raccoon always... Actually, when they went to LAN, they did impress me in terms of their performance, where I expected them to be and where they actually were. I felt like they leveled up on the LAN environment.
Well, if you believe scrims, And I mean, if you believe scrims, if you believe one tiny anecdote taken from scrims, apparently the G2 guys said that Crazy Raccoon looked better in scrims than they did in matches.
G2?
Yeah,
The team
G2. Apparently,
exists.
G2 at Berlin played against Crazy Raccoon. At Berlin.
Oh.
G2 at Berlin played against Crazy Raccoon in scrims, and apparently they said it was relatively back and forth, like they lost a map to them or whatever, something like that. And they were surprised that they looked so poor when it came to the matches. So that might just be G2 being shit, or that might be, actually Crazy Raccoon are somewhat decent when they play. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
That's to recover from the fact that at Reykjavik in the Scrimbucks was G2 shit on them.
Sure.
And they were making it public. Mixwell was like, they're just, I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, Mixwell did turd on them at Reykjavik. I think these are two of the weakest teams at the tournament, but calling who the winner is pretty fucking difficult.
Well, Crazy Raccoon just signed a new coach. And this is now 3 coaches. And I already think that the coaches were contributing to some of the madness that they opened with.
They have 3 coaches.
They have 3 coaches
and
7 players.
I mean,
that is crazy. That is too many cooks.
If you ever could tell a team is lost in the sauce, that is
too many cooks.
That is mental.
By the way, there was some
mayo, everything.
There was some leak coming from player streams from this event as well. Presumably, the Japanese players have been talking to the EMEA players, maybe during scrims, maybe during whatever. But apparently, there was some rumor that the Japanese salaries are about the same as the EMEA salaries at the moment in Valorant. Which is partly why I would imagine a lot of the Korean players are going to Japan. Like, there's rumors that suggest former Newturn player is headed to Japan as well to play. Which, listen, they're putting the fucking bag together for this team with 3 coaches and 7 players, aren't they?
That is quite odd. Quite odd. I'm still leaning towards Vikings, though.
For what reason, though? What's your reasoning?
Purely scrims. The Scrimbucks exchange.
But the Scrimbucks are saying they're not performing well.
Were they?
I don't think. Yeah,
the Scrimbucks was Wyatt was said. Well, first of all, Balla said.
Did I not say? Okay, well, I've heard some different Scrimbucks.
Oh my god!
That I didn't reveal.
Oh Jesus!
But
Christ.
it's a small little extract that Vikings were one of a team that was actually having some okay performances compared to expectations for them.
Or maybe the expectations were dire. I don't know. I'm getting 3 different Scrimbucks.
I've got
from
nothing.
all 3 of you.
I've got
when it comes to the Brazilian.
I don't care about the scrims. I'm going to give you reality.
Okay.
Vikings have one amazing player in Saucy. I think they have a really solid Sentinel in Sodhawk. And they have historically duelists over the past years, or rather over the past year, who do not get kills in the games. And that is why they lose. Their duelists do not get kills in the Valorant matches that they play.
Yeah.
And they lose games because of it over and over.
Yeah.
That has been a problem with them all year. They needed to make roster changes. They decided to stick it out. They're sticking it out for the year, seeing what they can do. That's cool. They've been swapping stuff around. They never really had a Jett main. They had Saucy playing Jett, which I don't know why you need a Sova who drops 30 bombs on every map in your region to be playing Jett for you. You should probably just get a duelist who can play Jett and keep him on Sova. But they have GTN playing Jett. GTN, okay duelist. They just have 2 okay duelists.
I mean, I thought he used to be their Jett player,
and he wasn't a Jett either.
So.
They just don't have anyone to play Jett. They don't have anyone to play duelist at a really high level. So you're relying on Saucy to be a god player and the rest of the team to be, I think, competent, and for them to have a better game plan in regards to the meta as well. Because the thing that really boomed them. I mean, a long time ago, the thing that boomed them at Iceland was that they were way out of the meta. They beat X10, and then they got rolled by Liquid and Sentinels. They were way behind the meta. They weren't playing Astra. It was just a mess. Hopefully, I mean, I would hope now that they're better adjusted to the meta, but also haven't watched the team play in 3 months. Yeah. They have not played a match in 3 months.
So difficult.
I have a lot of faith in Saucy. I really do think that he is a top-tier player in the game who's just on this team that is not of caliber to display his skill. So really for me, it's like, is Saucy going to boom Crazy Raccoon and lead Vikings to a victory? And can the rest of Vikings be good enough? Basically, that's kind of where I'm at with it. And
that's how I feel.
Versus Crazy Raccoon, who now have a ton of experience and have had some okay performances at these events.
I come down on the side of I think Vikings should be able to skill their way through this game, but I'm not confident. But if I had to lean in one direction, I'm tending towards leaning Vikings for this. Just because Crazy Raccoon have not been... I mean, they are one of the most... Because they've turned up so often to these events, they've got one of the most losing records.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They just went 0-2 at Reykjavik, and then they went... They won 2 maps out of... Yeah, they beat Havan when Havan looked pretty tragic, but... Havan Liberty only slightly worse than Vikings right now, so...
I think one of the things that you already brought up the meta thing for Vikings, and like watching their stage 3 matches at the very beginning of stage 3, I was like, okay, finally they're starting to catch up the meta. They're playing Astra, but they've reverted. Like you watch Challengers playoffs, I don't know why they felt the need that they needed to revert. Maybe it's Brazil not just keeping up, and they still think they can't fight it with the 100 Thieves issue, where they can't get up into form with the new meta fast enough, where they just can't beat the old stuff. But that is a significant problem. They've been here for a while. I think they were boot camping here for a while, or maybe I was just mishearing that. I think they went to Ukraine or something like that. So maybe there's some stuff that they can catch up. But even then, like I don't think that's even relevant until they have to go up against like a good like Gambit level, not Gambit level, but a top team in this tournament. And I don't think that Crazy Raccoons is there. So if they don't come out the gates just randomly switching stuff, I think that they have a better chance. I'm with you guys on Vikings.
Please no GTN Yoru.
No.
If I see,
he's going to be playing full-time Jett, evidently.
That
that seems to be the case.
If I see these guys playing Yoru, or if Sassy is back on Jett, I'm going to be losing my goddamn mind. I'm going to be Sassy Jett.
On Split.
Sassy Jett actually could.
He was playing it on Split before, even when he was playing solo on the other maps, so he might do that. But I don't. I am ready to go with Vikings and to be disappointed.
Yeah.
Like I'm prepared to think that they're going to win.
I will not be disappointed if Vikings loses.
I will. I am deliberately rooting against Crazy Raccoon at all times in this tournament. Why? Because they fucked me earlier when I was rooting for Gambit, and they caused the almost entire collapse of my mental palace. And then after they'd ripped my fucking mind palace to shreds, they then just quietly bowed out of the tournament afterwards anyway. So they hyped themselves up. The community is so fucking hype for bad teams that win a match that it makes me want to root against them. I don't know why, but it makes me want to.
It's just the Grinch.
You're a Disney villain.
The thing is, I'm actually with you, Josh. I am actually with you against teams that are like Gambit and stuff like that, which I expect to beat them. But against Vikings, I don't give a crap. I want Japan to play in those matches so that the Japan viewership, blah blah blah, all that stuff.
If Crazy Raccoon win, that'd be cool. If they win, sure. Okay.
I have no skin in the game with this match.
I'll go with Vikings, and I'm ready to be disappointed.
Vikings are considered the favorites in this match, by the way, by some margin when you look at the odds.
Okay.
What is that?
Interestingly,
odds are literally just scrimbucks noise to me.
Anyway,
Secret
absolutely. Raccoon, I'm going with Crazy Raccoon.
Yeah.
And Kurt already put Gambit over Vikings because obviously.
Sure. Yeah.
And then I don't see any reason why it would be different.
Yeah,
so.
Sure. Go with Vikings again. I feel like you could just flip a coin on both those games. I don't know.
If the first match is a banger, the decider match could be hype.
Could be.
Yeah, Vikings.
Yeah. Could be.
I'm just ready to. I've been waiting so long to see Saucy and Vikings just do something.
The important thing to note here is that it doesn't matter which team gets out of here; they're losing quarterfinals.
Yes, all of the teams that are going. All the first place teams in the groups are just going to be fucking crazy.
The important thing to note is that by doing a random draw with weird seeding, because there's no events on the lead up to Champions, Riot have robbed a top 8 team of a top 8 spot with the way that this works by just creating a group of poop. So Group D, the group of death.
A group of poop.
Yeah, I think people normally call it the group of breath or something because it's similar to the group of death, but I prefer the group of poop. Vision Strikers Full Sense. I've already laid out my thoughts on Full Sense. Think they're a great team. Don't think they're making it out here. I'm going for Vision Strikers with the kind of level of confidence I had after Berlin was like, yeah, this is a good team.
I completely agree.
Yep. I do think Full Sense has a chance, especially given what Vision Strikers played against Paper X.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think there's going to be so many jitters for the first day for these teams that have played at LAN before and are experienced. And Vision Strikers is very, very experienced. So yeah, I put them through. Full Sense has a chance, but this group is so difficult.
Why do you say Vision Strikers are very, very experienced?
Because of the amount of LAN that they played in Korea.
I played a ton of LAN in Korea.
They really haven't played many matches, though. They're
Not since Berlin, obviously, but...
I mean, even so. Like, the Korean formats are always so weird. They play, like, 3 matches or, like, 2 against good teams. I still kind of think about them as experience, sure, but primarily because of Berlin. I don't really take the Korean stuff into account, so I'm interested about you considering them fully, very experienced.
Yeah, no, it's mostly Berlin as well, but I just Korea is also like a place where you're playing LAN. So.
I do think you got a point as well, Balla, though, talking about Vision Strikers and how last time they for sure were holding things back when they were playing against Paper X. The first match is what it felt like to me watching that.
I don't think they were holding. Weren't they? Wasn't it literally actually the copy pasta?
I mean, yeah, when I was watching, I thought that they were holding stuff back because the strats they were running were so basic and disjointed compared to their normal stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that was actually the tech issues, and it just looked like it. Like, I seriously think they were having, because that's what all of the teams were complaining about at Berlin.
No,
you know,
right.
audio issues
they
and hiccups and stuff like that. So,
but to the degree that it changed their entire game plan and macro play, it was like a 180. It was so disappointing watching them in that first match. I feel like that's so weird to attribute
the other thing to think about
that.
it, I think Paper X is literally interrupting the way that Vision Strikers played.
Yeah,
they were constantly playing trap plays. Like, you remember the Haven Eaton, they're constantly playing trap plays on executes that they know are coming, that are signaled, which has been a problem in Vision Strikers play for quite a while.
They don't have
maybe the reason why it looked like they were hiding stuff.
They don't have an opportunity to sandbag, though, even if they wanted to against Full Sense. Full Sense will punish that. Full Sense are a team you need to respect.
I think Full Sense are better than Paper X. And,
for sure.
You know, Paper X did all right against Vision Strikers, so Full Sense have got to be taken seriously for sure. But yeah, I mean, we were just saying...
I'm fine with this.
Okay, well then, Fnatic Cloud9. I think this is just a slam dunk for Cloud9, frankly.
Yes.
Unless the only world I see Cloud9 not making it out of this group is if their players hard choke at LAN, and I don't think that's going to happen, but I recognize that that is a community narrative concern, that these players are just like, oh, fucking Leaf and Zipper are onliners, they're going to choke at the LAN. I've seen that around a little bit. I don't believe it, but I think that's literally the only way they don't make it out of this group.
Leaf has played in so many high stakes matches. Like, sure, maybe not LAN, but and Vanity, I believe in him so much to get his players ready for this situation. I don't even think that's a narrative that has any credence whatsoever.
Elimination match, round 1. Full Sense Fnatic. This is an interesting one.
Full Sense.
You're going Full Sense?
I'm also going Full Sense.
Ooh, okay. See, I'm torn here because I think Full Sense are the better team. I really think that. And Full Sense's duelists are currently in better form than Durka and Doma. I really still appreciate Magnum and Mystic as a supportive cast around Fnatic. I think they're still playing well in the games that we've been seeing, better than the Full Sense supportive cast as well. But to me, the tipping point might end up being the fact that Fnatic have just played at LAN before, and Fnatic have that experience to be able to get them over the line when things get a bit fucky in like an elimination match. So I'm torn with this one. I really do think that us power ranking Full Sense above Fnatic is probably accurate. Like, I actually think that Full Sense are a more well-rounded team, and they currently look like they're playing better. But I think when it actually comes to a match, you might see Fnatic edge it out just because the small things are going in their direction over and over, and Fnatic look better than they have done online. Do you think there's any...
I think that's
any argument to that?
Realistic, but I'm still going with Full Sense. For all the reasons you outlined at the beginning.
Just that they look like a better team.
They look like a better team. I think their duelists look like they're in better form. I mean, they are just generally in better form right now than Fnatic's form. Thus, I will go with Full Sense. But I think that your potential counter, I think that is reasonable.
What do you think, Balla?
Prep Full Sense. I'm pretty interested. I think this is one of the matchups I'm very, very interested in about, just specifically how these guys are going to play. And we haven't really spoken about KO coming into the meta. Full Sense is one of those teams that directly you're like, okay, KO is going to be in play for them. Same with Cloud9 probably with Zeppa. I'm not sure if in the opening match, but either way, I think KO is going to be a big part of this tournament. And Full Sense has a leg up on that. I agree with the ranking as well, but when I see this matchup, actually, I get jitters. I just do, and I'm not sure why. I feel like Fnatic, if their backs are against the wall here, there's no like I just can't believe that they're just gonna go out with a whimper in champions like that. You know,
That's what I'm. That's what I'm thinking too, but it's almost arguing by narrative there, that it's
exactly,
like, oh, you know, they've got the experience. There's no way they're the worst in the group, but they have a very difficult group, and I do think there's a serious world. It might even be the more likely world where they go out in fourth. But I feel it feels rough betting against them. It does, because their players are not hot right now, but their players play in like a deeper region where they are made to look worse. Full Sense are not the best team coming out of Asia. They are, I mean, you could argue they're the second best team though, outside of Vision Strikers perhaps, because who would you have above them? I mean,
you
nobody
can't
else at the
have
tournament.
anybody Secret or X10. No, and that's not happening.
So
here's the thing. I do think Full Sense can disrupt Fnatic a lot in the way that they play. With PTC alone on with his supporting cast, and then sorry, I forgot the name of the other guy, the Jett player.
John Olsen. He's got the best name, John Olsen.
This guy, I think that they can disrupt in the ways that they are playing aggressively on defense. I'm worried a little bit about their attack sides, but I'm thinking about the match against Northeption, and that's probably not very good to go off of, but they played very well against a Jett in Soldam that just is wild. And Durka is kind of wild, but not that wild.
I think the duelists for Fnatic are going to get diffed in this game to some degree. Like, maybe not totally destroyed, but I think the Full Sense duelists are going to look better here. I mean, we posted our top 20s for Berlin, and there were genuinely people non-ironically saying, why is Durka not in your lists? And I think those people have probably not watched Fnatic since Reykjavik, but the form is so different. He was a monster heading into Reykjavik. He was just on a heater on that run into that tournament, and he hasn't been in the same level of form. And John Olsen and PTC are super consistent. So I think Durka's likely going to be the worst Jett in this group, which is wild because the guy's not bad. And there's an argument to be made for Doma as well. It's really a more difficult argument because it's hard to say who like even the second person is on like a team like Vision Strikers, but that's the case with Fnatic right now.
Oftentimes when you watch Fnatic backs against the wall in these matches where they're not very good, and that happened a lot in stage 3, you see them completely uncoordinated because of specific, they go for a plan, they go for a play, and it falls completely apart. And people are not doing the things that they should be doing in those positions, but they're still going for the play anyways, and that hurts them a lot. And I think Full Sense can put them in that situation constantly.
So who are you going with?
Full Sense.
Okay, well then it's Full Sense because it's only me with my doubts leaning towards Fnatic perhaps. So Vision Strikers Cloud9. This is another super interesting game at the top. These are teams that we have in about the same kind of area when we were power ranking. I think it was like 5th and 7th we put them, something like that. And honestly, we might have been underrating Cloud9 a little bit because I still believe they're a team that could go on a bit of a heater for this event and end deep. What do you guys think are going to be the important themes in this match, and who do you have as favorites?
In my pick'ems, I had Vision Strikers winning off the basis of coming off of experience. I also anticipate them to be one of the outside favorites. Both of these teams, actually. I'm expecting to be kind of outside favorites in terms of who's going to be punching for that top spot, who's going to be going deep into champs. The question marks for both of these teams are Vision Strikers. Haven't seen them play in ages, but I and also the Cloud9 LAN experience narrative that people are running with. But despite all of that, I still... Yeah, I would have more faith in Vision Strikers as a team to win this one out.
See, one of the things that I'm concerned about with Vision Strikers is that Vanity loves playing against hyper-aggressive teams. And Vision Strikers, maybe they've changed the way that they play, but a lot of their stuff is about trying to get in position for hyper-aggressive plays.
Yeah.
And I think Vanity is smart enough as an IGL, if they play similarly to the data that's available, to be able to disrupt those kind of plays. The issue becomes we really don't know what Vision Strikers have changed. We know the kind of team that they are. They're unlikely to deviate their style too far away. Like if these guys came out and they were running fucking Viper everywhere and running these really slow defaults and stuff. I mean, I would be blown away if they did that, because I think their style, the style that they've run with since the very beginning, with like even their coaches and, you know, former players, their style is to run these execs with a lot of utility and get in your face and try and overpower you like that. I think Vanity probably enjoys playing against those kind of teams and would relish the opportunity to deconstruct them. The question just becomes, does he have enough to work on? Because he can't properly counter-strat a team that hasn't played in 3 months.
Yep, that's the big thing. We saw them come out at LCQ and lose to Rise specifically, and then come back and destroy them. That's probably a narrative that I would go with more than LAN experience for Cloud9. But either way, I would hope, number one, every IGL wants to play against a team like Vision Strikers of the past, where, especially on their attack sides, not their defensive sides, Vision Strikers' defensive sides, because I think they're just solid. But their attack sides definitely fit that mold that you're talking about. And every IGL wants to play into that because it is readable. And there are things to see. And that's why it's easy. And it's also really fucking fun to play against teams who have set executes and are strong at them too. It's really, really fun. So I can imagine that he likes that. Either way, I think a win condition for Vision Strikers for the tournament and against Cloud9 specifically as well is that they need to branch off from that. They need to become a more Gambit-esque team. Honestly, the way that they play should feed into that. That evolution should be natural for them because they play such a very structured style on attack in the first place. I think their defensive sides are almost there already in terms of Gambit level and Gambit style, and just solid, prepared. They know the places that they need to use their utilities. Some of the stuff is new constantly. There's these little tiny optimizations that they're making with timing and whatnot, and based off of info like darts or sky flashes that they're doing traps like that. That is very common for them on defense. It's the attack that they need to adapt. But with the executes, if they just go default style, play very slow, like you're talking about, that should be really good for them.
Where's your head at, Wyatt?
I think it's a tough one. It is a tough one. I am favoring Vision Strikers at the moment.
Okay.
And I think it's for a variety of maybe peppered in little reasons that is just having me lean towards them, but I don't think it's out of the question the Cloud9 win this game. I think one of the main one reason, I'm not even going to say main, just I'm going to list them. One reason is I would like to see what Xeppaa's form is looking like, because I think that he was in the best form he's been in Valorant on the final couple games of LCQ. When Cloud9 went on their tear, I think those were the best games he was playing in Valorant so far, by far. Is he going to be at that level, near that level where he was earlier in the tournament? I think that's one question I have in mind. I do believe that Stax is one of the best players in the game. I think that he's the best player in the server in this match. So Vision Strikers have that.
That is a powerful statement.
That Stax is one of the best players in the game?
No.
The best player in this match?
The best player in the server, I think, is a statement. I think that is. I think he's great, but I think... Yeah, I mean...
he's the best player in Vision Strikers.
Oh, I mean, maybe Stax is. I'm thinking between him and Leaf, but maybe I think.
Here's the thing: even
he
if
could well be, he could well.
I mean,
be.
I am thinking about the just the player rankings in my mind a little bit.
Where did you have Stax, Josh?
I think I had him like a place or 2 places above Leaf, something like that.
Yeah,
but
well,
it does strike me as like a bold statement.
When I was making the list, when I was comparing Jets and all that, well, I had Stacks in number 9. But I had Leaf and Buzz right next to each other because they have very similar stats. I think that they're, I do genuinely think that they're around a similar level of Jet play. Last we saw Buzz at Berlin, and from what we saw of Leaf. Though I think that they are different in the way that they play within the systems of their team.
Definitely.
Leaf is so on his own on defense.
Leaf's mad.
And then on the opposite, obviously, there's so much support coming in the way of Buzz. And then I'm thinking about, okay, well, how with the amount of kind of a ball, I mean, what Ball was mentioning, with the trap plays that Vision Strikers have at their disposal, which is just a large amount of them, and how good they are with the timings of those. Is that an area of the game where they'd be able to effectively catch out Leaf after seeing how he's played throughout the LCQ and how he was just ruining the NA teams?
It's also a scary thought that Vision Strikers have had 3 months to prep brand new trap plays that people have never seen before.
In a weird turn of events, like where we're finding it so difficult to predict this match, the lack of VODs to go off of, you've given Vision Strikers so much time to cook up some new shit.
Yeah.
So much time.
The other thing, too, is Cloud9 has so many VODs.
Yeah, they do.
They have so many.
That's
full grand finals.
That's what I'm trying to get at. Like, they are going to be very prepared for Leaf and how he approaches the game. And I think the Vision Strikers are a team that should have the ability to catch him out in some of those situations and punish him for plays where he was going unpunished against, Rise and 100 Thieves. Seems he was playing in an LCQ.
Yeah.
I think the Vision Strikers roster as a whole is just really excellent. Not to say that Cloud9's isn't, but I think that Vision Strikers is one of the most well-rounded teams in terms of player skill at the event. I'm pretty confident in Vision Strikers, and I am going with them, but I do think Cloud9 could absolutely win this game. But yeah, I'm sticking with Vision Strikers.
I was inclined to go towards Cloud9 in this match, broadly based on the fact that we don't know the form of Vision Strikers whatsoever, and yet we do know that the form of Cloud9 Blue has been very good. And so just on the basis of kind of the better the devil you know, we know the level that Cloud9's at is high, and there's so much of a range that Vision Strikers could be in. Probably most of the, or like at least some of the time, Cloud9's current form is better than what Vision Strikers are looking like, because we just don't know what Vision Strikers are like. But you really are selling me. I mean, the arguments for Vision Strikers and how smart they've been as a team in terms of the new stuff that they come up with, I could certainly be sold. Are we a majority for Vision Strikers?
Yeah.
You both are? What are you, Balla, are you with them as well? Okay, Vision Strikers make it through in first seed, and Cloud9, I'm assuming, beat Full Sense as well.
Yes.
That was my opinion on things.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well, then those are our pick'ems. I do feel like Full Sense have just been done dirty, though, because they are clearly a better team than
they're in a
Vikings.
They're in a really rough group.
Yeah.
Like,
to some extent, Vivo Keyed as well. I mean, if Vivo Keyed were in the other group, I think they'd get out ahead of Vikings for sure.
Definitely.
And
I think Kuru, literally any of the other third place teams in the groups should be better than Vikings or Great American.
Yeah.
I mean,
think so.
yeah. Going. This is still just stacked. Like, I mean, once you get to the top 8, aside from whatever team gets a pretty easy win, probably against the Vikings, unless Vikings have somehow just, turned the ship around. And it's just, they're in incredible form.
But that's pure copium. That's like Doctor Strange levels of looking into the multiverse.
They haven't played for 90 days, and they've just, in that time, become a top 8 team.
Yeah, that seems unlikely. Now, that's an interesting thing, though, about Gambit's route, is that they have a really easy group out of the group, but they guaranteed to not get that easy matchup.
So they're going to be playing
quarterfinals.
In our bracket, hypothetically, they could be playing against Ascend, they could be playing against Sentinels, or they could be playing against Cloud9.
Yeah, and none of those are easy games.
Yeah, that's just 3 tough games. I mean, also, if Sentinels, I think it is really realistic that Sentinels just go out in the quarterfinals in this tournament.
It's super possible.
Because they could be playing against the best team in the tournament. They could be playing against the winners of the tournament in their group, be in the quarterfinals then up against Gambit first round. You know, that's stuff went up against
honestly,
Envy
though,
again first round, Vision Strikers first round.
Those are all winnable games.
It's doable, but I think it's also possible that they just go out in quarterfinals again.
Yeah,
in more
possible.
impressive fashion than in Berlin.
The cool thing about champs though is it's going to be stacked. Like,
it really is.
The teams are stacked.
I have a format debate question. Would you guys like to see them make rules for the drawings that you can't get a full NA side bracket and stuff like that, like we had last time?
Wouldn't that add more limitations so you could predict what the groups would be?
Well, it depends on the results of the groups, yeah.
The more limitations, the less permutations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's not like you give anyone an advantage based on prep because they draw them basically immediately after the teams get solidified anyway. Yeah, I mean, I think that's reasonable. I actually think that's I think that's okay. I mean, it would be pretty easy to do, I think. You would still be able
you could just have a double limb bracket, but
yeah. I mean,
I think it would be easy to do, and I think it's something that was seriously missing from Masters. But from Masters was it's an international tournament with just not enough international matchups.
Here's what I would prefer: the first seeded teams got to pick their opponents. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. That's the fucking spice. And also, people are unlikely to pick domestic rivals most of the time there because I don't know, a lot of the time they dislike the way that goes. Although I could see a team that always dominates their domestic rivals being perfectly happy picking into them. So yeah, I was thinking about your question earlier though, or your statement about what being one of the most well-rounded teams. Somebody asked me earlier on my stream who I thought the best fifth player was at the event. So you take the team, the fifth best player on that team, who is the best of those fifth players? And I want to pose the question, just 30 seconds to come up with some of the ideas, and I'll tell you who I thought of as well. Because I think you've got to consider Vision Strikers. Who are the names that spring to mind? I don't even know who
you say the worst player is on Vision Strikers. Who even is it?
I was going to say Mako.
Lakia? I mean, who is
Lakia is a sixth player.
I mean, is it Mako? Is it King?
I think, in my opinion,
really good players.
In my opinion, it would be between King and actually, based on recent form, it would even be RB. But I hate saying RB because his online performance was fantastic. Yeah. But he had a very poor
Definitely
event.
Not King. Come on now.
I think it's got to be King, even though King's amazing.
I really think King is so.
No, it's
King is insane.
It's
who's better? Who's worse than King?
Wait, what do you mean?
Someone has to be worse than King for him to not be the worst player.
The worst player on Vision.
Like, they're such a good team.
Or Mako.
Yeah,
I don't think Mako. I think Mako's really fucking good. I think for the Smoke's position, he does more at that position than King does at the Sentinel position, in my opinion.
I've just been so impressed over the time watching Vision Strikers with King's decision making. I think he has top tier decision making that wins them significant amount of rounds, and it's unnoticeable.
If it's not somebody on Vision Strikers, who would it be? So let's say we agree.
Names in my head.
All right, who are the names?
FNS, Nivera.
Okay.
Nivera
on Liquid. I don't think Nivera is even the worst player on Liquid. I think.
Oh, sorry.
I think it'd be Soulcast, to be honest.
It would be Soulcast.
Could be.
Is Soulcast all right? Well then,
I'll run back from the Liquid comment because for some reason
I think the
jump
Envy
out
is
of
a
my
good
mind.
shout.
But FNS
honestly,
on Envy.
Well, is it FNS or is it Victor? Because I think going off,
it's FNS.
I think it's FNS. I think FNS still had a good tournament.
I guess if you don't,
I think it's still FNS.
If you don't want to factor in IGLing. And
I mean purely in terms of what they do in the server.
What they do in the server, sure.
Yeah, and then. Do you think, all right, if we narrowed it down to FNS, Soulcast, and whoever the worst player is on Vision Strikers?
No, Redgar. I want to propose Redgar too. I think he is one of the best worst players on the team.
Okay. So we've got four candidates there. Who are you eliminating first? Like, who do you think is the worst of those four players?
FNS.
They're all really fucking good.
FNS?
Yeah, right.
Are
off
we
the
not
bat,
taking into account the IGLing?
No, we're
not?
just
We're just talking pure
talking about
stats.
what they do, not just stats, but the impact they have with like their abilities, their rifling, the plays that they make in the server, like the character in the server that FNS plays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the impact in the game.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. I would then eliminate Redgar. I think Soulcast has more impact for Liquid than Redgar does for Gambit. I think it's pretty close. But I think Soulcast has more impact, especially when he gets to play Raze for them too. His Raze and his Sky look really nice.
Yeah.
Is it?
I think Redgar is so impactful in clutch situations and just his assists as well. Like his supporting when he plays Astra on all the different things as well. I don't know. I'm fine with either, but
it's now between Soulcast and whoever we think is the worst player on Vision Strike.
Well, I just keep coming back to the argument that if you can't even think of who the worst player on Vision
I'm
Strike
eliminating
is, they probably win, don't they?
I'm eliminating Soulcast.
That argument doesn't work because just because you can't think of who the worst player is doesn't mean that all three at the bottom that you're between aren't worse than the other guys.
But I think it's much more likely. I think if you have a group of players and you can't tell who the worst one is, it's much more likely they're grouped higher than Soulcast. And even just my opinion would be that I think they are. Like, I think
the fact is that here's the argument is that three different people want three different people from Vision Strikers. And that, in my mind, is pushing it over.
But it's kind of interesting that we had our top 20 players and we had most of our picks from Envy. And actually, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're the most well-rounded team. They might be the most skilled team, but there's so many different labels that you can apply to these different teams. And I think well-rounded applies so heavily to Vision Strikers, to Liquid, and to Gambit as well. I think those three teams
the teams that we
to me
picked
well-rounded.
In the power ranking that we did, the teams that we picked that said actually have a chance to win, all of those, minus Vision Strikers, I think are the teams that you would put as well-rounded, yeah.
Sure. And Envy as well, obviously because they have such high individuals. And FNS had probably his best tournament at Berlin. If he can keep doing that, then yeah. Pretty cool, though. I like just those little thought experiments. Let's move on, though, to our most important segment of the week. Every week, it's Wyatt's Weekly Award.
Oh, I didn't see you there. Time for Wyatt's Weekly Award. And dinner. Chili.
Something tells me you'd been doing a lot of green screen stuff for that final one.
Oh, that was like, well, I mean, yeah,
that's
was
like your
last one. That was like
1 a.m. You're losing your mind. You're pulling a trophy out of a chili pot.
Yeah, I mean, it was a late one. This week, the weekly award is going to a viewer of Plat Chat, William K, who on Twitter had made he had compiled the top 20 lists that we all made and made MVP champion odds based on our placements on the lists. Which was pretty cool. The like has been dropped by the Plat Chat account.
Give him a like. So
it is very cool if you want to zoom in on that.
Yeah,
so this has so it has Yay at number 1.
Right.
And I believe that is just because Connor had put Nats in 3rd.
Right.
Which is why Yay has edged him out just by a little bit.
Explain to me the plus 150 thing. It always confuses me, the like different odds systems. Plus 150, does that mean if you put 100 points on, you would get 150 back? Is that how that works? Or do you get 250 back?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But okay, they're all relative to each other anyway.
Listen.
Right. Average placement of what?
It's not there.
No idea. I don't know. It's explaining basic.
It's too confusing for my small mind.
I'm not a degenerate gambler, so I don't know these things.
Yes. We simply invest on the game.
Yeah. We
do not gamble. We invest.
We are speculators.
In the buy round. But yeah, this was very cool to see all the players listed out.
And it shows you the jumps as well, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not just that Tens is in 3rd, but there's actually a pretty sizable jump from Yay and Nats to Tens just based on our rankings. Balla, you weren't on that episode. I asked you to compile a top 20, but you never showed it to me.
Did you?
I mean, No, did I not?
We did, but I had to leave for Thanksgiving.
Yes,
anyway,
I asked you like a long time back, and then you knew that you weren't going to be on the episode, and so I cancelled it. But my point here was not to out you as not doing your homework like an angry teacher. My point was to say, what do you think about this cumulative list? Like, if you take a look at this odds list, what surprises you about the decisions that we together ended up making?
Not much in terms of like the top 5. I honestly think that that's very, very nice. Crashes and Nats are the highest here out of non-duelist players. I think that's very accurate. And I like that Stacks ends up being rounding out the top 10, but this is like pretty damn solid. Chronicle being in here is really cool as well. There's nothing standing out. Yay is literally could be the best player in the world, hands down. So I don't think that these odds are crazy.
Well,
I think this is a really cool question, though. The fact that you're asking who's going to be MVP of the tournament, like this is on top. Well, this is not taking into account the odds, aren't taking into account how far we think those teams will go. So it's not that, but just based off of like the top 20 players, I think it's a really, really cool question and one that I'm very interested to find out at the end of the tournament who actually is MVP now. Like, because I don't care about that normally.
The reality is, though, that it does depend on how deep you go in the tournament. It's very, very rare that someone picks an MVP from the players outside of the grand finals teams. And it's actually quite rare from the first team. Yeah. I mean, if you don't win, it's unlikely you get MVP unless you pop the fuck off. And then even then, you basically can't win the award if you're not in the finals. That's just the way that these things tend to go.
Yay is a pretty safe bet, I think.
For making it deep?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and for me, Envy are still the team that I feel the most confident in making it to the top 4. I think, like, almost no matter what, I am very confident in them getting top 4, at least.
Yeah. I think it's
maybe not win, but
yeah,
they could.
Definitely,
they could
absolutely
win.
Could.
But I think they'll definitely make it deep.
Okay, well, one final reminder. If you watched this live on Twitch from somewhere, maybe you followed somebody's Twitter link and you didn't hear my shout out at the beginning, then we do this every week on YouTube. We have a YouTube account. It's youtube.com/PlatChatValorant. If you're watching on YouTube right now, it's twitch.tv/PlatChatPodcast. So slightly different URLs there, but very simple to remember. I'm sure even you can figure that out. Even the people that come into my chat and say, "Hey, Bren, how's it going?" Even you can figure that out. So drop us a subscribe, drop us a follow. We'll be live very shortly with the
Sims 3 simulation stream.
Yeah,
on
what
December
he said.
1st.
What he said. Also, this is brand new, and doesn't that look beautiful? Just to close out the episode. Thanks for buying a frame for that. It looks pretty gorgeous.
No problem. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, maybe we'll get sent some other swag
Thank
stuff.
you, Righto, John Riot, for the poster.
Thank you, John Riot. We need to really bring back the John Riot character from LCQ. That's one of my favorite characters, I think. That does it for this episode, though. We'll be back with... what
episode number was it?
Well, it was episode... it was... Last week was 68, I think. So,
okay.
We'll be back at some point, probably December 1st. See you then.
See ya.